Hello and welcome back to Wake Up with Dr. Cheryl, Wealth Transformation. We have a local superstar guest this evening, Michael Shapiro. Mike Shapiro is a veteran of over 25 years in the sports and entertainment industries and brings a fountain of knowledge to the San Rafael Pacifics. Mike is one of the owners and acts as a president and manager of the Pacifics, one of our local heroes. Mr. Shapiro has served in various roles in major sports team management, television production and administration, new media production and rights acquisitions, marketing, athlete representation, consulting, and golf course management. Mike began his career in the sports industry in 1984 as vice president and general counsel of the San Francisco Giants. He was instrumental in the launch of Giants Vision, a cable-based subscription service featuring Giants home games and unique programming productions. He oversaw the administration of the Goodwill Games in St. Petersburg, Russia in 1994 and in New York City in 1998. In 2001, Mike founded a sports consultancy, Centerfield Management Group, where he served as managing principal and representing such clients as Tolan Robbins Productions, NBC Sports, Las Vegas, Clark County, Frank McCourt in his acquisition of the LA Dodgers, and the Lerner family in its successful acquisition of the Washington Nationals. Throughout his professional career, Mike has had the opportunity to lecture and speak extensively at a number of universities and to graduate students of Columbia University Business School, Georgetown University School of Business, amongst other major universities. Currently, along with his duties with the Pacific, Mike is consulting for the development of a multi-sports academy in Marin, creating multiple minor league teams in the North American Baseball League, and is teaching sports management at the University of San Francisco's Graduate Sports Management Program. He is also writing a novel. In 2012, Mike, along with Eugene Lupario and Steve Allen, bought a share of the Pacifics and now serves as a minority owner in the ball club. Mike is married to his wife, Jane. They live in Corte Madera with their two sons, Harry and Jackson. This is the second part of a two-part conversation with Mike and continuing our conversation that we started from last week's show.
But they're playing for the love of the game and for the hope that somebody will see them.
The passion to play.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it takes.
They're doing it for the same reasons we're doing it, because we love being part of baseball. Yeah. And we do it because we love this community that we live in.
Yeah. So do most of your players, they live here local?
About 2/3 of the players do not come from this area,
yeah.
but we marry them up with host families.
Oh, okay.
So they live with local families who may have kids, and they love having a professional baseball player in their home
sure
for the
boys
summer.
Love it. Well, the girls like it too.
Well, I met this one woman who asked me for 2 players, so go figure that out. But no, it's about integrating the team with the community.
Yeah.
And that includes putting the players in host families. It means taking the players and going out to the hospitals and to the senior centers and to community events and integrating the team with the community. So
you were telling me that there's a Japanese girl that's pitching in the Hawaiian League. So has there ever been a woman or a female that wants to come onto your team?
We have not had anyone try out for us yet.
There's no barrier there, is there?
No, I think it would be great. I had a 65-year-old man pitch for us last year, a former Major League player, Bill Spaceman Lee, who set a record. He's from San Rafael, set a record as the oldest man ever to win a professional baseball game last year. This year, we brought in Russ Colombo, who's the president and CEO of the Bank of Marin, and he even pitched to one batter in a professional game.
Oh, I think I saw a picture of that.
So we have fun with it, and we try to break barriers down.
I mean, it's wonderful for the community.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is...
And the fact that Iri Yoshida, this young woman who from Japan, who pitches for the Maui team, and She'll be pitching here again on July 6th. The fact that she's pitching in this league is wonderful, and I think it's one of the things, one of the statements we're trying to make about breaking down the barriers and trying to make baseball more accessible to more people.
I mean, yeah, and if a female, and of course I'm speaking for them, if they have the passion to play and they're up to it, why not? I mean,
why not? Why not? I mean, she throws a knuckleball, so she doesn't try to overpower the hitters with, I mean, I think, physical size makes it a little bit difficult to try to compete, but she found a niche where she could throw this wonderful knuckleball that is just difficult for big men to even hit. And she's been very successful at this.
Oh, wow.
It's really a lot of fun.
I guess we'll see what happens when they come here and play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's great. So, well, it sounds like you're just fulfilling your dream. And for the viewers, I just like to show examples that you can fulfill your dream, and money isn't everything. If you're paying your bills and you can do the things you want to do financially, and you're most of all happy because you will live longer because you're fulfilling your dream.
Well, I had to learn some painful lessons along the way.
Don't we all?
Right. And again, for as many of those high places that I was fortunate enough to get to, there's always the other side of that, and that is you do see some very low places as well. And so my life has been a roller coaster ride in many respects, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. But some of the painful lessons that I've had to learn about the acquisition of and loss of wealth in financial sense led me to the conclusion that I'm at somewhat now, and that is vastly unimportant to one's happiness and to the satisfaction of one's life.
And if that's all there is to, and I have known a couple billionaires that's all that they were after. I mean, there's an emptiness inside that, if they're just after money.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the pursuit of an illusory goal.
Hello.
Yes.
And
it took me a long time to learn that. It took me a lot of painful lessons to learn that. I had many opportunities where, I think I was or could have even been more so financially well off, and for a variety of reasons lost those resources and lost those opportunities, and had to struggle through a lot of angst over what's really meaningful to my life. And in the end, it didn't turn out to be money. It turned out to be happiness.
And I know for myself, I've done the bankruptcy route myself, and when all these angst things happen, it makes you look at it. I think it's a wake-up call to really look what's important, and to have the balance, to keep that balance.
That's absolutely right. I was very fortunate in that for all the craziness that I foster in my life, I have a very common sense wife who kept us, as a family on an even keel, and corralled some of the excesses that I was ready to enjoy. And Jane kept our family together through a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and I've learned over the years.
So thanks to Jane.
Yeah, absolutely, thanks to Jane. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for Jane, because she's Norwegian by descent, and so very commonsensical and very smart about life, and about what really is the meaning of life and what's important in life. And she came from a very, very strong nuclear family, and really taught me a lot. And I had, I'd been to great colleges, and I'd been to law school, and I'd had all these incredible things happen to me, and my head was so full of nonsense. and she really kept me together and kept our family together. And I think the reason that I am so happy now, and the reason that, and we do this as a family, this little business of ours, the San Rafael Pacifics, is, she operates the food concession stand. My kids work in there.
Yeah.
My partner Eugene's family is it's a family
that's
business,
that's
and
wonderful.
and it wouldn't happen without Jane being so smart about how to appreciate the happiness that you have without it having necessarily relate to wealth.
Well, obviously you have worked through a lot with your relationship, and it takes two.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, it does. It does, and because by nature I was I think partly in reaction to the poverty of my childhood, and having grown up in a very wealthy community, having gone to a very
I can relate.
I went to I went from that environment to Georgetown University, which was a very heady, big time collegiate experience. I had all of these dreams about wealth, and it wasn't really until I had met and married Jane that I began to see the other side of life that was more about family, more about doing things that make you satisfied rather than just doing things to make you money.
Right, and there's probably thousands and hundreds of thousands of men that need to wake up to that same thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, it was all about having really fancy, fast cars and cool clothes, and I was a different person, and it's taken me a long time to learn that, that's not necessarily what makes you happy.
Well, you can still have some of those things.
Well, and I do.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I mean, that's part of who you are, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, there it isn't, but you have to take it into a moderate perspective, and you have to take it into consideration.
Yeah. So, what's your next dream?
I think my next dream is to finish my next book. Tell
us about your book. I know you're writing a novel.
Yeah, well, it's a sort of semi-autobiographical.
Oh, okay. Because I remember I'm an author. So
yes,
please tell us about that.
No, I mean, I think the first book I wrote was.
So you've already written a book.
I've written one. Don't even pretend to want to publish it or anything. It's very self-critical and a lot of revelations about my own character.
So it's more of a journal, maybe?
Well, it was cathartic in that sense, but no, it's a story. Like I say, it's a semi-autobiographical novel about a man who struggles with the lack of a father and a father figure in his life, but who comes to understand at the end of, at least at one end of one journey in his life, after he has his own children and becomes a father, that that he had the role of a father in his life through his grandmother, his mother, and his wife, through three very dominant women in his life, but they were his father figures, which is the title of the book.
I'm loving hearing this.
Yeah.
I want my daughter to read it.
Well, I haven't let my kids read it yet, but because it takes through the span of through the 60s, which I enjoyed thoroughly, and through a lot of as we've been talking about, a lot of ups and downs in my life, which are the same, the ups and downs of this character's life. And I want to, so you ask about the next dream, I really want to write the next book.
And it sounds like because there's a lot of fatherless children out there. I mean, it's like 50%. And I think it would really help. So the sooner that you can get it finished, I think that it would help so many people, so many men and women out there that have not had a father.
Well, it took me a long time, both in my own life and then in terms of writing the story. That
it takes a lot of courage to do this.
Well, that one has to admit that in a way, having a father or being a father is a lot of responsibility.
Yes.
But a father role isn't necessarily a male female, and as I say, my grandmother, mother, and wife were all three very strong factors in my life, and so therefore I had father figures, but not men.
Yeah, but you probably had maybe one or two men outside the family that helped you, because I would have never guessed that you didn't have a father.
Yeah, no, but what I did learn along my journey with these other men, and I had an uncle who I adored greatly who had problems with alcohol. I had another man, a very famous jazz saxophone player named Stan Getz, who was like a father to me, but he struggled with drug addiction. Yeah. And so I had these very flawed men
I understand.
In distinction to these very strong women who really did lead me through life. And so the next book that I'm anxious to get working on, I've started dabbling with, it has to do with aging and now having, gotten, into my 60s. And the effects of what it has done to my personality and to my life, and much about what we've talked about today, about the change of satisfaction level from pursuing one journey and actually winding up someplace completely different, but having the ability to appreciate that both with retrospect and with some maturity.
Yeah, well, and it does change. I mean, your values are the same, but your perspective changes.
Well, and I of course didn't know that. There was no user manual when I started this life, and it has taken me a long time to figure that out.
Yeah, but you've accomplished so much in your life.
Yeah.
So
well, I've been very fortunate.
Maybe that's why it seems such a long time, because you've accomplished so much in it only being 62.
Yeah.
62 is still very young.
I hope so.
It is.
And I feel younger spiritually and physically, younger than I ever have. I have more energy to do what I'm doing now, in part because I'm getting so much satisfaction from it.
Yeah. So if there's any wise words that you can share with the viewers about living your dream, and then I have another question after that. But living your dream, what would you say? What would you?
Well, I think using my own life experiences to offer any advice would be difficult, because I had all of these opportunities put in front of me for whatever reason. Who knows why I was in the right place at the right time, so many different times in my life, and I made so many good choices and I made so many bad choices. And all I can say is, I was never afraid to take risks. I was never afraid. In the midst of taking those risks, I go, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" But I,
especially if they didn't turn out exactly the way you wanted it to.
And a lot of them didn't.
That's how you learn.
But I never was afraid. I never shied away from taking a risk. And a lot of them didn't work out, and a lot of them turned out pretty badly. But on the other hand, I enjoyed some incredible experiences as well. So I think if I had to give anybody advice, and I'd be the last person to give anybody advice about living their lives, I would probably say don't be afraid to take any risks, and don't minimize what your potential might be to do something really cool.
I know my father used to say to me, how will you ever know if you don't do it? If you don't take that risk, how will you ever know? And I wouldn't want to live life in regret.
Right. That you hadn't tried something out. And
yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of young people who intern or I teach at USF grad school, and there's a lot of young people who I really learn a lot from, and I gain a lot of energy from. And I try constantly to be a mentor of sorts, and that's sort of for me a twisted role, because I need mentoring so much on my own. But I try to give them the benefit of my experience and to share, both the successes and failures of my life freely, and to let them have as much of myself as I can give them, as they're willing to take, but to at least to have the opportunity to have somebody who's been through a lot of experiences in life, and closer to the end of their journey than they are at the beginning of their journey, and hopefully to share that with them, and that has been a really rewarding experience.
Oh, I'm sure it has.
Yeah.
And I bet that they are very appreciative. I mean, for what they can at their age,
Yeah, no. I get so much sustenance from working with these younger people, and they give me so much. I mean, I don't know anything about technology.
See, this is what
they teach me something every day.
Yeah.
I had no idea what a hashtag was yesterday.
This is what life is about, though. This is the true reward of life, and feeling that true fire that burns in life. What you're saying.
Well, yeah. I mean, the one good thing I would say is that it's never been dull. There's a fire only because I got cool things going on. Now they all haven't been good,
Well, but that's what makes
cool
you
too.
who you are today.
My mom used to tell me it's what builds character.
Absolutely.
And she would say, in the same sense, she goes, well, you're going through a tough time now, but that's what builds character. And if nothing else, Michael, you're a character. and I'll never forget her saying that to me.
And you can laugh. I mean, that's
of course, of course.
So, if you have any other maybe wisdom that you can say about earning money or about money, about wealth, what would you say? I mean, you've pretty much said it, but just kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I would just I'd probably be repeating myself to some degree, but I would say that the end goal is not achieving financial wealth. I think the end goal is having a bank account full of wonderful experiences and having. I'll tell you one of the coolest things about my journey and my experience, my wealth, is the wealth of characters I've met in my life, of wonderful people. Yes. Some of them kind of heinous, and some of them charming as can be, and some of them roguish, and some of them artistic and literate and illiterate. And I mean, I've met all kinds of crazy people in my life, and sure. I think in the end, I got a bunch of good stories to tell, and to me, that's great. I can tell some of them are actually even true, but I get to tell some great stories, and I think that is. In the end of it all, I've met some wonderfully engaging, charming people. I've had some great experiences, and I think that's the greatest wealth you could possibly have.
Would you like to share one of your stories?
No.
Oh.
No, I mean,
I know I'm putting you on the spot, but I just like if there's.
Well, any particular story has to be that I've experienced actually has to be suited to the environment that you're in. But no, I will tell one story, and it's not necessarily funny or by any means, but it's been one of the great things that happened to me in my life, was meeting a guy who lives here locally in San Rafael by the name of Corey Bush, and Corey. Was the guy who brought me into baseball. He was the first guy to give me my first job in baseball. Now, when I got cut from playing, I didn't know what to do with my life, and I wanted to be a sports writer. I didn't know what to do, and somebody gave me some advice. Said, go to law school, and at least you have a legal degree to fall back on, but it'll also help your writing. I said, all right. So I went to law school, and I won't even get into all the circumstances that happened. But I was in the right place at the right time. My first job out of law school, thanks to Corey Bush, was general counsel of the Giants.
Oh, okay.
How that happens is a long story, but that's what happened. And to this day, Corey Bush has been a mentor, a best friend, and what happens with the Pacifics, all of the things that I've learned along my journey, are all thanks to Corey Bush. He's one of those characters that I've met along the way, who has so enriched my life, along with my wife Jane and so many other people. But Corey Bush, I wouldn't be anywhere if it weren't for Corey. And I love to talk about Corey, and there's always a wealth of stories about him. Yeah. He's a larger than life character, and I think that's what I have had the good fortune to have in my life.
Yes.
And that is a lot of people like that in my life.
Amen. Well, and you've also knew when to act at the right time.
No, I didn't actually.
But
I didn't.
But you have, because everything's happened. Everything's unfolding. So I'm giving you credit for that.
I think
too.
You're giving me more credit than I deserve. I think I fell into a lot of really good things.
But if you didn't deserve it, it wouldn't have happened.
I don't know about the word deserve. I don't know, but that's sort of, I mean, I don't know that anybody deserves good things or bad things or anything. I don't know about deserve. I know that there were things that I worked for. There were dreams that I had that I was able to achieve.
Okay, I'll put it another way. Law of attraction.
Yeah, okay, now that.
Law of attraction.
Yeah.
That's, good karma.
I think there we go. Now I'm more on board with that.
Okay, I mean, that's what
I think, you put out, good vibes and good things will happen to you.
So it's happening. It's all happening.
That I'm more, I don't know about deserve, but I do believe that the law of attraction makes sense.
You don't have to agree with the deserve. It's law of attraction, and it's happening.
Fair enough.
I'm really thankful that you came and that we've had this conversation, and it'll be fun to have it airing.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Thank you very much. I have enjoyed this conversation.
I'll see you again.
I hope so, at the ballpark.
At the ballpark, definitely. Never give up on your pursuit of your purpose and passion, and even if you don't know what that is, work with integrity and have a positive attitude wherever you work, and especially with your family and friends. Be grateful for what you have, who you are, and be grateful for your freedom. And eat healthy. Good nutrition feeds the mind and the body, your body temple. Don't forget to exercise, move your body. Feed your spirituality with meditation and prayer, with unconditional love, and firstly, love yourself unconditionally, and share your abundance and wealth with others. Thanks for watching. Please support Marin TV that brings these messages. And remember, when fear knocks, let faith answer the door. Bye for now, until next time.